Welcome back to college football coverage by the fan for the fan. It is week 5. Week 4 was interesting, saw a few upsets, big wins for some teams, and some tragic losses. Now, let's go ahead and dive into the games for this week. We're going to do a little bit like that last week. Go over majority of the games, try to hit everyone's team so we're not just talking about our top 10 games. That way, we can try to hit more than just 20 teams for this week's coverage. Now, let's get into it. South Carolina State, South Carolina got moved to Thursday. South Carolina's going to win that game. Utah State, BYU in Provo. BYU should be able to handle them. It's on Thursday night as well. Hall should go off. Dude is a stud, and that got shown this last Saturday. Friday, Tulane at Houston. Tulane, heartbreak loss in a rivalry game. Houston barely survives a rivalry win. Houston's great season so far is looking a little shaky, or supposed to be great season is looking a little shaky. Tulane could seriously win that game, but I got Houston winning that at home. UTSA, Middle Tennessee. I'm going to take UTSA winning that in Murfreesboro. Middle Tennessee did just upset Miami, but that was probably their game of the year, and UTSA is a better football team. San Diego State at Boise State. Boise State's favored, but give me San Diego State, man. Boise State just lost your quarterback. OC's gone. You're on the path to irrelevancy. The program is starting to look really ugly. It's not looking good in Idaho. Washington at UCLA. This is one of our top 10 games of the week. 15 Washington, 4-0. UCLA, 4-0. Give me Washington. 42-38 is my prediction. It's going to be a good game, but this is the real deal. This is where we find out if Chip Kelly finally takes that next step with UCLA, or if Washington has flipped the script fully from last year and Penix throws it all over the Bruins. LSU at Auburn, Saturday. Yeah, this could be ugly. I'm taking LSU for sure, and it's this. They should just destroy him. LSU's not that great of a team, really. I mean, they could be, but Auburn's just ugly. Give me LSU in that game. Michigan at Iowa, one of our top 10 games of the week. This one could be good. Iowa's defense is the real deal, man. They seriously are very impressive, but the offense is just so stagnant. I'm taking Michigan winning 27-10. They're going to win, and it's going to be tough for Michigan to score, but eventually they're just going to break through. Iowa's defense can't win them the whole game. So give me 27-10 Michigan. Kentucky at Ole Miss. That's another top 10 game, 11 a.m. This is the real test for Ole Miss. This is your serious test. You just survived Tulsa last week. You're playing a real team with a real pulse. You got Kentucky coming to town. Kentucky has already had road experience this year, in my opinion, the loudest environment in the country. Give me Kentucky winning this game 31-28, close game at Vaught Hemingway. Oklahoma at TCU, another top 10 game. Just coming off that loss, TCU just winning a rivalry game. 3-0 TCU. First Big 12 game, you got it at home. This is big. I'm going to take Oklahoma, though, winning 42-31. They'll end up pulling away in the end. Dylan Gabriel should have himself a day. Purdue at Minnesota. Give me Minnesota. Purdue is looking shaky. I mean, they did have a lot of starters out last week. They barely scraped by FAU without those starters. But Minnesota right now looks like a solid squad. Texas Tech at Kansas State. Both these teams coming off the upsets of the two brand names of the Big 12 that are leaving. Who's going to take advantage of it? Someone could possibly have a sleeper week after their biggest upset of the season. Who's going to be? I think Kansas State should be able to handle this game and take down Texas Tech, especially with it being in Manhattan. Illinois at Wisconsin. Now this could be a really sneakily good game. I mean, you got Illinois. Chase Brown is a stud. You got Wisconsin, who's trying to figure out their identity fully. You're sitting at 2-2 right now. 0-1 in the Big Ten. Illinois is 0-1 with that ugly Indiana loss, but I think Illinois could win this game, but with it being in Madison, I'm going to take Wisconsin slightly in a close one. Give me the Badgers, but don't be surprised if the Illini end up pulling that out. Louisville at Boston College. Give me the Cardinals. Boston College is an awful football team. That O-line is so bad. Like, it's not even funny. They can't even run the ball. Them and Auburn in a game would be hilarious. Navy at Air Force. Rivalry game. Air Force should spank them. Navy just came off that upset of ECU, but Air Force is the real deal in the group of 5. Give me Air Force. Texas State at James Madison. James Madison, first year in the FBS. You're sitting at 3-0, 1-0 in the Sun Belt. You were down 28-3 to App State, and you came back and won. Who would have thought the Dukes in their first year, which people figured would be transition time, Not really. They came to play football. Give me the Dukes. They'll win that game and improve to 4-0. Utah against Oregon State. Big game here. Oregon State has a chance to get back on track. They're still a good football team. They gave USC their all, and now they get to go on the road to Salt Lake, but Utah should win this game. If they don't sleep through it, they should win this game by double digits. Give me the Utes. Alabama and Arkansas. This is one of our top 10 games. Alabama going on the road. We know Alabama the past few years on the road have been very shaky, including Bryce Young. He did play okay against Texas, but that team gets pretty rattled on the road, man. And Arkansas will, I think that may have benefited them, in my opinion. I mean, you want to win every game, but I think Arkansas being in wounded animal mode now gives them a serious chance to win. Alabama's favored by 17.5, but I'm going with the upset. Give me Arkansas 28-24. They run the ball. They control the time of the possession, try to keep Alabama's offense off the field as much as they can. There will be the explosive plays, but Arkansas edges it out 28-24. Rutgers, Ohio State. Ohio State might score like 3,000 points. Give me the Buckeyes. Oklahoma State at Baylor. One of our top 10 games. This is a real deal game for Oklahoma State. In my opinion, they're kind of like Ole Miss in the SEC. They're both sitting there, and you're like, I can see where this team is ranked where they're at, but at the same time, I could also see that they're overrated. But both those teams have their real test this week. Oklahoma State at Baylor. I think Baylor wins this game. I got Baylor winning 31-24 in a close one, but Baylor is definitely the better football team, and they're at home. Northwestern at Penn State. Penn State should cruise. Northwestern is awful. Wake Forest at Florida State, one of our top 10 games. Wake Forest coming off the heartbreak loss to Clemson. They gave it their all. They just can't win that game against the Tigers. Florida State coming off the spanking of Boston College. This is the full real deal litmus test for Florida State's defense. You played LSU, but mainly run heavy. Jaden Daniels running everywhere. You're playing a real passing attack here. Let's see what your secondary can do. I have Wake going down there and winning 42-35. I just think Sam Hartman and that offense will be able to hang up the points to eventually win. Kansas at Iowa State. This should be a good one. Iowa State coming off that heartbreak loss last week to Baylor. They're better than they were last year, but I think Kansas right now just has that momentum, and it's in Lawrence. The crowd's going to come out. They finally have something to come watch. Give me Daniels and the Jayhawks to win that game. Michigan State on the road at Maryland. This is panic time in East Lansing. Maryland looked good last week. They lost to Michigan. Michigan State got spanked at home by Minnesota. Maryland looks like a good football team. They could seriously win this game. They're literally favored, 7.5. Michigan State, if you lose this game, this season is going to go downhill pretty quickly. I think you still got some crappy teams in the Big Ten on your schedule, but at this point, it's not looking good. It's looking like Kenneth Walker was the Spartans last year, in my opinion. Give me Maryland to win that game. Virginia Tech at North Carolina. This could be ugly. This could be another Mac Brown special loss game. He's losing his swagger. But give me North Carolina just because they're at home. SMU at UCF. This should be the Group of 5 game of the week. SMU coming off rough loss to TCU. UCF, close game against Georgia Tech for a little bit. Pulled it out, won by 17. I think SMU can go down there and win this game in Orlando. Give me the Mustangs to go beat the Knights in Orlando. We got Citadel at App State. App State should win that game over the FCS squad. Texas A&M at Mississippi State, another top 10 game for us. A&M, they won last week against Arkansas, but Arkansas looked like the better team. However, A&M's got those playmakers, man. They found a way to win the game. Good teams find ways to win games. But that offense, man, even with Johnson, I just don't think... If you score more than 24 points, you beat Texas A&M. If you don't give up a special teams touchdown or a defensive touchdown, like turnover touchdown, I think you can beat Texas A&M, especially with Mississippi State's offense. KJ Jefferson tried to jump from the 5-yard line, and that ended up being Texas A&M points. I mean, there were so many things that went wrong for Arkansas, and they still barely lost. Mississippi State has a serious chance in this one, but I think Texas A&M does it again. I think they find a way to scrape by, and I have them keeping... Their defense is still good, though. I have them holding Mississippi State's high-power offense low points. I got Texas A&M winning 20-17. Another top 10 game of the week for us. Georgia Southern at Coastal. Another good Group of 5 game that could also be Group of 5 game of the week. I got Coastal winning the game 35-21. Georgia Southern's O-line is the real deal, and it's really helped them a lot. I think 185 dropbacks, 185 consecutive dropbacks without a sack. They're a real deal Group of 5 line, but I just think Coastal's explosiveness on offense is going to be tough for Georgia Southern's lacking defense to stop. But it could be a fun game. That one could get weird. California at Washington State. Washington State should be able to handle the Golden Bears. Last week, heartbreak, but you showed that you can compete. Washington State is a good football team. They should win that game and roll. Cincinnati at Tulsa. Tulsa, rough loss to Ole Miss. You almost had it, man. But some things aren't meant to be. Cincinnati's cruising. This could be a trap game for the Bearcats. I have Cincinnati edging this one out, but keep your eye on that one. Georgia going to Missouri. This should be a bloodbath. Like, this shouldn't even be on TV. It should be illegal. It should be 18 plus to watch that game. Georgia, easily. North Carolina State at Clemson, one of our top 10 games. North Carolina State's defense is good. They'll be able to slow down Uyunglele a bit, but not enough. That Clemson defense is going to smother Leary, I think, for a while. Keep them low on points, and Clemson wins 27-17. West Virginia at Texas. West Virginia's rising. Texas looks to be falling. So this is an interesting clash right here. This game could dictate the rest of the season for both these teams, the momentum built off. I'm actually going to take West Virginia to win this game if Ewers is not back, but if he is, give me Texas. If not, give me West Virginia. Indiana at Nebraska. Give me Nebraska. They get a win. They finally get another win, and they'll improve to 2-3. Indiana is rough. Virginia at Duke. Duke should be able to beat Virginia. They are at home. Virginia is good, but it just seems like Brennan Armstrong is just struggling with Tony Elliott's new system coming in. Last year, he just looked so free. This year, they just seem so confused with the receivers. The chemistry is just not there. Give me the Blue Devils. Colorado at Arizona. Arizona should be able to win. Colorado is practically a free win on people's schedules right now. It's not even funny how it's sad what that program has become. Pittsburgh at Georgia Tech. Give me Pitt. They slept walk last week against Rhode Island a little bit. It was kind of scary there for a second, but give me Pitt. They should be able to handle. Arizona State at USC. USC should be able to hang plenty on Arizona State. I think USC is a little bit overrated, but not. Just they finally put a defense with a pulse last week and only put up 17, but Arizona State is awful. USC should cruise. Oregon, Stanford. Oregon should be able to handle that game no problem in Eugene. Eastern Washington at Florida is on Sunday. It got moved because of all of the hurricane craze. Florida obviously will win that football game. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for listening. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you enjoy college football coverage by the fan, for the fan, this place is for you. Thank you for listening. Have a great week, and let's get ready for some college football.